I go again. Let's see. Yep, that is definitely the party I have. The lowest level people. Let's see. Fran, Bosch, Pinello. Okay. Well, this is kind of an unusual time for me to be doing this, but I just decided to. Why not? I'm awake. I may as well. Let's see, I have her using a bow and arrow, so maybe I'll avoid getting the shield upgrades. Anyway, I'm just going to do some running around in this game some more. Mostly heading towards the capital. I don't think there's any story beats that happen like in this section of the game for a little while. Like I think I go across 3 maps that I haven't seen before. I think there's a side mission you more or less do because sure, I'll look at what the ruby ring is maybe. Let's see. Increases strength when hit points are full? No, I don't care about that stuff. Maybe I should get the potions up because I seem to be using potions a lot. Anyway, just sort of getting through this slowly. I guess I will get access to those bows pretty soon. I'll just preemptively buy those because I think I have most of the hit point and yeah. Well, I probably could have bought that instead of the armor, but I didn't know it was there until just now. But I think I'm reaching the point where I'm just going to buy random stuff because it's there, not necessarily because I'll actually use it. Bosch's night stuff. Anyway, I'm going to probably not pursue any further story elements in the game right now. Mostly just stick to like side quest stuff and slowly leveling everybody up as I head towards the enemy capital. And just sort of quietly play the game. Get to where I'm going. Anyway, if anyone's there, hello. It's nice to have you. And if nobody is, I'll just ramble to myself for a good while. As I normally do. Okay. This is always the most slow part of the playthrough, where I don't really see things that are of interest or to comment on for the most part. I think I want him to have that. Increase chance to block. I think I'm looking for more damage. Go after the raw damage rather than anything else. Ensanguined Shield. Zodiac Age. Well, I think it'll be a while before I start unlocking something with a title that ostentatious. So maybe I will not worry about it so much. Is there anything that costs 25? Yeah, sure. I'll just unlock these so I have the option. I guess I could have bought the Mystic Armor that has 25, but I don't think there's any point in giving him magic. I don't think Knight or Bushi uses magic points. Hand bombs 3. Nope. Okay. I guess the bomb ammo is used by the hand bombs weapon? Okay. I don't really know. Well, I guess I'll increase her magic potency. Can't go wrong with that, really. And those are just all the magic armors. What else? I guess I'll give her access to that green magic. Not sure, but I think Sage's Ring is a useful item. But yeah, I'm reaching the point where I'm just gonna start buying random things that I can just afford to buy, just because it's there. Slow, immobilize, disable. Yeah, I guess I'll do that. Always. More hit points is always a good thing, it seems. Huh. I guess Time Battle Mage is a mildly aggressive class. This upgrade tree has all the do more damage upgrades down the line. I think the Rose Corsage is the thing that prevents you from being silenced. And just buy that to have the slot free. Okay. Now I'm gonna figure out what I'm going to actually have them do in battle. Yeah. I think this is probably about right. What can she actually cast on allies? Decoy. I think I'll keep Bosch as haste. Okay. I don't know if I want to make... Maybe I will make Bosch a decoy too. Because if he has that shell shield equipped, he might be the best person for magic attacks to go off of. I don't know if I'm going to want to have him also be hasted. Because if I have two different status effects being used on him, it might be a little bit taxing on my less evade, but gives him shell. I think that's a decent trade-off. So he has both protect and shell. I think that's a good trade-off. What other things does he have access to? Let's see. When attacked, automatically counter. I think that's probably a good thing. If he's gonna be taking most of the attacks, then. And Ice Brand. It's a good combination of things. Okay. I remember I did pick up a better bow. Loxley bow. Okay. Okay, so either use fiery arrows or parallel arrows. I think since he's gonna use an ice weapon, or using a fire weapon, I think that's a good team effort, or whatever it is. Light armor. Okay. Okay, that's... let's see, I bought equipped reflect. Okay, I think I probably don't want to use that then. Oh well, that's what happens when I randomly buy a license. Reduces MP cost by half. Okay, that's what the Sage's Ring did. Then that is definitely a good thing. I thought it just gave you magic points back faster, but I guess it's effectively the same. I think I want to keep her using a magic staff. I don't have any better magic staff to equip to her, I guess, though. Wait. Don't I have, like... The feathered cap is the best miss... Oh, okay. I have the Lamia's Tiara equipped to somebody else. She could wear the... No, I think that combination of things is fine. Libra? Okay, I guess she'll watch out for traps. Oh, Fran's gonna be my leader character. Yeah, I guess I'll do that. Poach foes that are about to die, maybe. Actually, maybe I'll turn that off for now. Because I think the player party right now is a little bit behind in the levels of where I'm going to be running. Maybe I'll turn that off. Let's see. Lightning vulnerable. Okay, I'm just gonna make her, if things are weak against dark. Okay, I thought she had the ability to cast dark. What does she have? Fire, aqua... Weak to lightning. Weak to dark, weak to holy. Okay, I guess fire vulnerable will be... I guess I'll have... Okay, those will be the things. Anything else I can do with her. Fire, thunder. I don't have ice vulnerable or weak. I don't have water weak. I could have her cast poison. No, I think that's probably fine. What I've got on her right now. And then of course the regular behavior of curing. Maybe I will not have her do cure for now. Instead make where's that? There it is. I'll make her be the person that casts cure. Ooh, yikes. She doesn't have access to Kira. This guy doesn't have access to any magic. Yeah, Bosch is terrible at magic. I give him 2 classes that don't give him any magic ability. I don't think Pinello has access to Cure either. Okay, so I'm going to hope that my player composition party is going to be good enough to survive for a while. Could ever cast poison on enemies that are at full, but I don't really know if that... Yeah, maybe I'll have her do that. Cast fire on any ally. Maybe I'll do that. Just so if I accidentally turn that on, it doesn't... I don't start having my people attack each other. Okay. Okay. If I recall correctly, I want to go out to the west. I remember there were some other side quests and missions I can do, but I'll try to see what I can do to make progress before I actually commit myself to going back and doing the side quests. All these initial enemies are going to be really easy. Wait, this is the wrong area. I want to go east, not west. I got confused, and I don't know why I went to this area. Why is Sorbet sad? He implied he was sad about something. I don't know what that was about, but there's probably like some lore somewhere in the world that Sorbet is down for some reason. I'm sure that there's somebody that says something that makes that Sorbet the Moogle's depression or whatever is makes sense. Okay. Going in the right direction now. It's gonna be real easy for a little while. And I think I can probably defeat this dinosaur. Yeah. Just because it's been high enough level to do that. I may as well, even though he was a friendly dinosaur. For some reason. I guess he does attack the wolves if he gets close to the wolves, so I guess maybe it's implied he's eaten them. Which, you know, most large animals are not going to be aggressively hostile towards things for no reason. Like, why would that be the automatic behavior of a large animal? You know, animals come into conflict with each other for reasons that aren't just because they exist near each other. You know, animals in the wilderness don't just randomly attack other animals. You know, so that's gonna be true of dinosaurs, even though, you know, in like movies or shows, dinosaurs always just randomly attack for no reason. Or really any large creature and stuff just randomly attacks for no reason. It's what I'm doing here as a player party. Like, I guess we could just run past all of these, but we're kind of doing it as random civilized people from a city. I guess I should briefly mention what the plot is, at least. Just as a reminder. We have a super weapon, and we're going to use the super weapon on the enemy's super weapon by just walking up and walking into their city. And I guess their plan is to just walk up to where the storage facility is and destroy it. I don't know how these people think that plan makes sense, but, you know, presumably there's some chain of logic in their heads that they didn't feel was important to explain, which makes that plan of action seem sensible. Or maybe it is sensible if maybe there is some way to find what the story is at this point that makes it make sense. But as far as I can figure, they know that the enemy has nuclear missiles, and they have a sword that can destroy the nuclear missiles, and they're just gonna walk into the military facility and hack the nuclear missiles apart with their sword. That's effectively what the part of the plot here is. Of course, that part doesn't make sense, but the whole reason why they want to destroy the super weapon is so that their kingdom can declare independence without worry of the Empire having as much military force against them for doing so. Which that makes sense, right? Because if you have independence, it doesn't really mean much if your immediate neighbors has lots of military resources to do whatever they want to you. You know? Especially if they currently, like, occupy your city. I mean, it makes sense most of the way. Like, there's a lot of nitpicky details that I'm sure, you know, military general would be able to point out that, like, just destroying one weapon or one category of weapons when you have a massive disparity in the sizes of armies. I'm sure that there's something about that that wouldn't make sense. What do you say? Yep, it's Rexel's boat. I need to get across. But anyway, so yeah, that's the plot, is we're trying to undermine the enemy nation's military so that our independence movement can have a better chance at successfully seceding from the occupation that military is doing. Totally makes sense. It's just the details are a little bit wonky. Anyway. The boat returned without a pilot, I guess. And the kid's gonna go across back the other way. Well. That makes sense. Although it doesn't make sense that like an 8-year-old would listen to the village elder. No, don't do that. I'm the old man who can't stop you. Yeah, I did the side quest. And they referenced a side quest that I did. Would they be saying this and letting me progress if I didn't do that side quest? I have no idea. But it is nice that they actually do reference a side quest I did. That's like, oh, that's super minor, but it's a nice detail. A nice detail to include. You know? For some reason I thought you fought like a squid or something in the water. I guess you just fight him on this side. Well, there's a bunch of weird cactuses dancing around them. This does not seem like an incredibly dangerous dilemma. All those people seem to be massively understating the idea that they're in any sort of trouble. What weird cactus creatures want with hostages, I don't know. Oh, they all just ran away. Wait, now's our chance to go help them? Are these people that, like, don't understand how to escape from being a hostage when all your captors leave the room? It's kind of hard to not pilot a boat correctly. I mean, the only thing you have to do is crash into the other shoreline and you're done. Oh well. Okay, so they just left. It's nice that he said that they're a prickly bunch. They're doing a conga line thing. Oh, and there's a big one. Kind of... was he kidnapped? Seemed to me like he just sat there. Wait. Oh, he's acting as a mediator now. Okay, I guess these creatures have a language. Okay. Well, they still, like, forced you to do it. So that is kidnapping, or whatever. Okay. Well, anyway. Oh, they didn't kidnap us. They just forcibly forced us to leave and help them. Okay, I get that. Didn't I kill one of these things previously? Well, good thing I got rid of the evidence of the slaying by taking the flower on his head to the other town so it could be used as medicine. Okay. Okay, so there was a little side thing here to do. Okay, so a weird cactus monster race. Yeah. I don't know. I think that if somebody just crosses a river in a small boat to get to a town that's within visual sight, I think it's kind of weird to not see him in 3 days. Like, so, I mean, this person's complaint is a little, like, you could swim across it. I mean, I guess the way they're talking about this river, you can't just swim across it, but it doesn't look like it's rough waters. It doesn't seem to be any problems. But I guess they only have one boat too. It's not like they have like cannons or something to shoot the cannons at any feisty fish. So I don't know what's going on there. What? The ferry's right there though. Okay, well, I guess that dialogue didn't update. What about you? I killed one of those. Yeah. Yep. Oh, okay. I guess it's a thing that you have to complete this side quest. Doesn't seem like the kind of, what? It regrew? Well, that's monstrous. He was killed and cut up and boiled into medicine, and then he regenerated from that, and now he's following me around? I guess he must know what the plot is. Or maybe he's just like, you killed me, so I'm gonna stalk you and harass you. I can't do anything against you, but I sure can annoy you by just following you everywhere. I mean, I guess if somebody tries to kill you and they fail so badly they end up dying themselves, and then you go on to get better equipment and stronger and more powerful, like, I guess the best they could hope to do at that point is just follow you around and annoy you. Or be a sidekick or something. And the boy thinks that that's a different cactoid, I guess? I don't know what's going on. I mean, they implied it's the same one got regenerated, but maybe those cactus monsters can't tell their racial members apart. But that thing supposedly has a name. Okay, well, I can't see this backfiring at all. Now let's just hope that that guy was delusional and it turns out that these creatures really actually don't have a language. They're all doing the exact same dance. Okay. I guess once those cactuses get the flower, they become effectively immortal. What? Wait, where'd he get that? Maybe they got it from the family or something. I'm gonna see what the wormfire shot is. Okay, it's a crossbow ammunition or something, I think. Okay, it's okay, I guess it's gun ammo. That makes sense. What do you say, Moogle? Yeah. I don't think I will buy that. I'm gonna do my strategy of aimless, pointless wandering. Just running around in circles. I thought there was a boss battle or something. He doesn't have money to ride across there. Okay. It seems like that kidnapping family of cactus monsters is not as bad an inconvenience as it could be. I guess they're not dangerous, they're just pointy and they are really annoying, maybe? So it seems like the stakes of their assault on this village is just sort of dancing around people. Yeah, those cactuses sure were a huge problem for your village. I guess they said that the cactuses forced them to travel all around this region and look at things. Could have sworn there's something to find around here, but I guess not. Oh well. But I guess all those cactuses sure were inconvenient for a short time. Oh, a pot out in the water here. Demon's Bane. I think that's a sword. Oh, it's immune to poison. That's nice. I don't even know why I'm using the poison thing. Maybe I'll just turn that off. One thing that seems kind of, there's always like a few enemies that are susceptible to stuff like that, but because most enemies don't have high enough hit points for the action economy to make poisoning them worth it, and the fact that some enemies are just flat out immune to it kind of makes it so that status effects like poison are just worthless. It always seems like a game design problem that would have been solved at some point, but I think most of the time games like this haven't solved it because they like the aesthetics of the idea that you can cast that stuff. Or they like the idea that, you know, oh, if they know that you can fight this really tough boss by just poisoning them and then defending yourself and casting healing magic while they poison themselves to death. Like, if they know that this one boss in the entire game can be handled that way, they'll love it. But having the game handled that way, you have the problem of it creates a bad experience where you never actually are in a position to find out that that's how you handle the boss. Unless you look up like a strategy guide later on, and if you can't figure out how to beat it. Like, most of these games have that kind of issue with them. And this dinosaur is way tougher than the other one. I guess he's not way tougher. I think he was tougher, but not by a huge margin. Frank hears so little hit points per casting that it's kind of funny. Yeah, I'll fight that. Looks like a colorful pelican with 2 tail feathers. Or 2 long tail feathers that give it a sort of kite-like appearance. Casted. Used kamikaze. Just like a bird would. Actually, one thing that I wonder is that there should be an enemy that looks like a starling in one of these games. That's like specifically based on the appearance of a starling. Because they're one of the like crazy enough birds that will go in and attack creatures they see walking through their area. Like if you're walking out in the middle of the street and you walk by a starling nest, they might dive towards you and, you know, use their foot claws to nip at your head. And they're small birds. So it's like a thing that's more of an annoyance than anything. But there's footage of like cats and stuff walking around and a starling dives at them and then the cat, you know, jumps 10 feet in the air because it was just attacked by something out of nowhere. And it has no idea what happened. But like if the cat actually, you know, knew that the starling was coming, the starling would be dead for sure. So that seems like an easy thing you could draw on of a bird-like enemy. But I don't think starlings would look impressive. It wouldn't look like a very interesting bird design. Or it wouldn't look like a very interesting creature design, I should say. Probably not. She's gonna have to cast so many cures. I should probably just not have her cast it because, well, I guess it's okay in these intermediate areas where I'm not actually doing anything. What is this area up here? I guess there's a treasure to get over here. Yeah, I may as well. Berserker bracers. I wonder if that item just makes you berserk. That's probably what it does. I wonder what the actual formula is for, like, magic usefulness. And for some reason I thought I was going to be visiting Nalbina. I guess I bypassed the area that actually goes to Nalbina. It doesn't matter because you don't have to actually go there. I mean, maybe I'll backtrack and go visit Nalbina. Baba. And it looks just like the werewolf. Or the other thing that I forgot the name of. It was like a Rastrix or something. I do like this wolf recolor. The white, red, stripy sort of appearance. It's simple, but you know, it looks the color difference and the fact that it has a different, I think it's a different fur pattern, makes it seem like it's more unique. But anyway, the point here is that you're just running around admiring the environments and sort of leveling up. Aquara moat. Bio moat. I don't remember really using those moats very much when I played the game originally. They're like one-time use magic items, which are neat in concept, but they're the sort of things that you'd only really use if it actually helps. She's cast Cure so many times that now she's run out of Cure spells. Well, at least when I reach the checkpoint, maybe I'll buy something useful from the shop. Yeah. Now, for some reason, Van is in the lead, because obviously he's the leader of our party, right? He's the guy that nobody else really... He's the guy that acts the most buffoonish out of every character. So obviously, he's the leader that represents them when they're in a town, right? Even though he makes no decisions and everyone thinks he's a fool, because he asks the 1,000-year-old elf how old she is and other stuff. He wants me to talk with someone. You know, if I was in this mountain pass and just sort of hanging out, I probably would think that sitting on the armored warbird is probably the best place to sit, rather than the crate or just the ground, like that guy up there. So I think that's a good pose, even though it's kind of like you're not really doing anything. That person knows exactly where I'm going. That guy lost his traveling companion, I guess. What's this person say? Or what's this person have? Okay. I'll buy that. Yeah. What else do we have? What happens if you equip two things that give you weakness and half damage? Does it quarter those things and multiply it by 4 or something? I kind of wish I knew, but I'm not so focused on it that I want to bother looking it up. goggle mask. It looks like it's goggles with face covering, maybe? Immune to petrify. Yeah, all these random things giving you one and only one attribute. And some of the attributes are less useful than others. It's sort of like in particular regions would be best to micromanage and use those particular ones. Yeah, I don't think I'll be using any of those. Okay, I forgot I had 0 of these. I'll buy some of those. Sure, I'll buy Berserk. If I recall correctly, Berserk makes them, they forego all of their various... If I recall correctly, they forego all of their various training to just attack the nearest enemy. And I think it raises their attack damage. So there is a trade-off to it. Okay. I know that halfway-ish, I know that through the forest there's a particular, I don't think I'll buy one. Can't afford it anyway. But I know there's a boss fight in the forest, but I don't remember if there's one before that point. Concerned about the road being blocked? What do you say, random guy? What are scouts? Okay, I guess that makes sense. Where is she? How do you not know where she is? She's like 60 feet away. In plain sight. You're even looking in the direction. She's over my shoulder, what? I guess the era that this was made in, it still kind of had the whole dialogue choice, or dialogue will tell you things that you kind of have to suspend your disbelief for. Like, they didn't try to sell as hard what the people said by like trying to make sure it was accurate to what you actually saw in the game. So I guess maybe that makes sense, but it's still weird to see that kind of disconnect. Because, you know, back in the Super Nintendo era, when probably a lot of the game designers that made this, probably some of them started making games back in the Super Nintendo era, and since the Super Nintendo era would be like, you'd see a character on screen say that, I don't know where anything is. I'm standing somewhere and I'm confused. And then, you know, on the screen you'd be able to see through a wall because the way the top-down thing worked, and you'd be able to see, oh, the other character, the thing is just through that wall. I just need to get to the other side of the wall. You know, you'd have stuff like that happen all the time in older games. But, you know, this early 3D stuff, I think that I think that this game kind of qualifies as early 3D still. Even though it's definitely not the earliest of 3D games. I think it still suffers in a lot of ways from a lot of the questionable design choices that early 3D games had. What with the environments being a bit confusing to navigate, and not every character being or not every choice of how to operate the camera made complete sense. Like there's points in this game where the camera will be rather difficult for you. Like the environment design. Boy, that vulture likes to kamikaze. But yeah, a lot of the ways the camera likes to deliberately not intersect the environment means that it suddenly zooms in on you when you are trying to get a far shot like that, because it doesn't want to intersect with that cliff up there. And nowadays I think it's pretty standard for most cameras to either take a far more overhead view, rather than worry about this. Okay, I guess nobody cures poison. I need to fix that, definitely. Wait, somebody does. Okay. I need to make curing poison more of a priority than getting hit points up. Okay. Well, hopefully they'll target him and I'll still be alive. At barely any hit points. Oh, okay, she doesn't revive. Who is it that uses the revives? I don't know who it is. I think it might be Bosch that does it. Except he was doing attacks. So maybe it's not him. I'm going to see what Canelo's ability to cast Cure is. Because if her Cure is just better, I might have to rejigger things a bit to have her do it. Okay, it's significantly better. So I'm going to have her do Cure. And as for... okay, she does do revives. It's just she does curing first. Okay. Maybe I'll just have them both do cure. Now we mostly focus on Bosch having doing most of the damage. Won't be good when I fight flying creatures, but I don't really think that's a big deal. Okay. But yeah, as I was saying about the early 3D, I think there's a pretty big difference between the camera forcing certain locked behavior where it refuses to intersect with objects, and trying to have the whole the texture of the mountain like fades out a little bit and becomes semi-transparent just for the sake of the camera being allowed to go through it. Like I feel that I feel that it's more standard to have games do the semi-transparent thing to not get in your way than a lot of early 3D tried to go the realistic route, which ended up making the games a lot more difficult to figure out where you're looking and what you're doing and where you're going, because they wanted to have this sense of realism of like, well, obviously the camera can't exist inside the stone wall, which, you know, it's certainly a design aesthetic, but I feel that the reason why a lot of early games adhered so hard to that early on in 3D is that they just had a lack of imagination, and not because it was an aesthetic artful choice. Which, you know, that's kind of what happens with art in general, is that over time more people have imagination allows them to make conscious decisions about minor details like that, and you wind up with a better product eventually in the long run, because you see positive examples of, oh, you can break this convention of never having the camera intersect solid objects, because if you break that convention, it makes things much easier. And then once the example is out there, people can choose to go with the new example. To be like, oh, it really doesn't interfere with the quality of the product to do things this way. That kind of thing. Hooray! But, you know, I wonder if, like, in 100 years, people will be able to point at distinct waves of how game design and art design in games worked. Like, how each successive generation had different periods of behavior, in the same way that, like, people who study paintings made by people 50 years or 500 years ago can pinpoint various movements that existed within the styles of painting and the schools of learning about art, and how it influenced and developed over the time. It probably does exist to some extent today, but I think probably not nearly to the same degree as like art history in a serious academic way. Because right now, video game art history is in the status of there's some guys on YouTube that make a video now and then, and there's no like academic rigor or seriousness associated with it. So right now it's sort of in it's sort of in the domain of there's no difference between random kooks and people that actually take the subject matter seriously. All of it's just the same. Which, you know, that's something that 100 years from now might actually change. Or that's something that 100 years ago might actually be different. Or 100 years from now. I think I said 100 years ago. Oops. Like, there's probably interesting things that you could notice about game trends and design. But I feel that probably the easiest way to find stuff like that out is to just track down the various people who made interesting decisions and ask them what their inspirations are, rather than try to compile any sort of historical art critique method of that kind of thing. I don't think Bosch can attack most of these flying enemies. But luckily I have my bow and arrow, so that's not too bad. Pinello has her magic. And versus them, all he needs to do is be a distraction, so that's not too bad. And the vulture will probably suicide. Oh, I guess one of them. I guess they already did. I guess I'll send Bosch to go attack the Python. Wow, the Python's level 30. And the vulture's level 30. I guess that explains why, well, my group is also suboptimally geared to fight them. They don't have the right combination of classes and abilities. I think I'm doing okay though. It's just not having access to good curing is the difference. I think what I probably should do is spend money to buy a bunch of healing items and then just use healing items when I have a situation like this again in the future. It's good that Pinello has the magic costs less to use ability though. Okay. Yeah, I'm making pretty good progress towards getting here. Okay. I don't know if there's any shops in this forest area. I don't think there is though. Hey, this looks more like a forest rather than that jungle area before. I mean, it still looks like an insanely massive forest, but wow, these trees are all massive. What if there was a planet or a forest that was made of nothing but those 500-foot redwoods? That's what this is. Except there's no forest floor, there's just bridges everywhere. What kind of civilization would go through this forest and build bridges everywhere? Like, I would think that if you had a situation like this in a fantasy world, that what you'd want to do is, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but when I see something like this, I'm thinking that wouldn't it be neater if the struts of the, you know, the support beams of these wooden pathways were instead like tree branches? They looked like they were tree branches that were grown out from the trees, and then these slats are like, you know, the part that, of the bridge that you walk on were like stone slabs or something. Or maybe not stone slabs, but something that was harvested from elsewhere outside the forest to build the bridge. If you made it like that, it could be like, you know, it's a magical bridge made by... I guess I'll fight it. Die, bunny. And there it goes. Running away. War song? I think war song is something that gives it a bunch of combat buffs. Doesn't make much of a difference though if you die in 3 hits. Oh hey. No, he lost his map of this place. Luckily it's not too expansively confusing. I mean, it's just a series of bridges. It's a really odd design choice from an aesthetic sense. Like nothing is less jungle or woodsy than lots of bridges everywhere. And that's what these jungles and woods are in this game. They're nothing but like wooden bridge paths. Like I don't think you ever see a forest floor or anything like that. Layabout. You slackers. Oh well, that's their way of sealing off the one of the regions that connects to this zone, so that you don't go there before it's story appropriate for you to be there. But oh well. But anyway, I can't think of, like, I could see them making the wooden bridge paths in the Elf Forest or the Viera Forest. Like, okay, it's a weird secluded civilization that builds intricate and bizarre structures. And it's also their, like, territory, so it's kind of like just the equivalent of the government building highways or whatever. But this one, I think story-wise this is a trade route that's built by Arcadia or something. So it's like a human civilization, or a Hume civilization, not an elf civilization that built it. But design-wise it's pretty much the same. Like you'd think Humes would like clear-cut the area. They wouldn't build these bridges through it. They'd find some path on the forest floor, and then they'd build stairs at the end to get up the cliff. Because you'd think that the design sensibilities of forest elves and humans would be different. Just based on their cultural traditions and design sensibilities and whatnot. I mean, the design sensibilities of the elves are pretty ridiculous, but you know, they're like exactly the same. I mean, they're not exactly the same. These wooden bridges look pretty different. And it has this rope stuff, but it doesn't seem like a different civilization built it, just this is a different expression of the same general concept of how you build a path through woods. Or maybe these woods have like a special property that prevents you from being able to establish a forest floor. Like the way this is like you aren't taking a beast of burden across these across this path, I would think. Looks to me more like if you come here, you're kind of a lone traveler, or walking with a small group of people with like a mule or something, going slowly to navigate the twists and turns. But like, if you build a trading path, it has to be winding around like this and zigzagging all over the place is not gonna be the optimal way to do it. Like if you're forest elves that don't like destroying trees, like it makes sense to have a winding zigzag path like that. You know, I could buy that, but the humans, it seems like they just go to the forest floor and then just use their cartography tools to more or less clear a straight path, pave it, and go on their straight path to the destination they want. Of course, that would also be visually not very interesting. I guess they do have areas here that look like their roads that have, or their bridges that have fallen apart. But I don't know. It's just a design, an odd design theme to go with. Of course, it's those chickens. I think I like these. I think I like these colored chickens the best so far. Of course, the black and orange ones are pretty neat. What is that? Oh, okay. I think that's supposed to be water down there. Okay, so that's why the wooden path exists. It's because there's a water basin down here. But I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess there's massive tree trunks that erupt out of the water, and I guess it does make sense that you'd have the actual path erected a little higher in the air. Okay, it's one of those weird plant creatures with a mustache and a crown. Oh hey, more of these guys. What do these ones say? Yeah, they're resting. Well, I guess the Mughals are... I mean, I don't really know if they're a member of any group or whatever, so I don't know what the deal is with them all resting right now. Of course, the gate they're talking about, I think, is a massive gate that's like 40 feet tall and 30 feet across and made of solid steel, so like... You know, these 2-foot tall creatures working on it kind of seems like a bit of an excessively large project to expect them to complete in any timely fashion. Like, you know, if you're trying to fix a door that's broken, Well, I guess you'd have tools or something. I was gonna compare, like, one person trying to fix a door as opposed to, like, a dozen 2-year-olds trying to fix a door. Or, like, 2-year-old sized people. Maybe. I don't know what the deal with Moogles is supposed to be. Okay. I do remember this area. This is the area just before the boss, right there. What does this guy say? Okay. I'm going to go this other direction just to see what's up there. I might pick up a useful item. Okay, yeah, this is an area of road that if this was fixed, I could bypass the boss encounter. Or if I just walked across it. I guess you couldn't really walk across it. The best you could do is rip up one of these boards and just set it lengthwise across the gap. But that seems like a pretty worthwhile thing to fix. I guess there's no reason to, because like 40 feet to the side there's an alternate route that gets you to the same location. So that doesn't necessarily make the most sense to do, but if there's a monster blocking the path, like, it seems an optional route to go to set that up would be worthwhile. Okay. And now I'm purposely going in a direction that is not progress right now. It's just, I remember that encounter being, I remember it being a fairly tough one, and I don't know if I'm leveled up enough to actually defeat it right now, or correctly geared enough. So I'm gonna head up here and see if there's anything I can either collect or anything I can buy. I don't think the gate has any shopkeepers at it though. Like, there might be one, but... Ah, the bunny likes to run away. What are those things called? Pumpkinhead. And they're weak against Bosch's weapon, elemental type. That works. I don't even remember which direction I really came from, but that doesn't matter. Anyway. I'm just here to do pointless running around, looking at the scenery. There's a bunch of weird spidery vines that are all over these trees. I wonder if those are supposed to be like creeper vines or something else. I don't really know. There's ones that go between the trees too. Well, you know. Kind of wish I could get that crown that they have and sell it. But I guess maybe weird crown for a plant monster is it's far too large to fit most other characters' heads. Seems like you could sell it to a Banga or a Sikh though, and that would be worthwhile. But yeah, like, yeah, but yeah, I guess this is this isn't a forest, it's a swamp. I guess they called it just Salica Wood, which I guess doesn't necessarily mean forest, just that there's wood here. So I guess that's not inconsistent or anything. So I guess that's not bad. Oh, then now that I know the thing that Pinello has cuts magic use in half, now I'll know what I should equip my magic users with in general. That's good. That's good information to have. Okay. I'm gonna check the map because I wanted to go to the gate. Yeah, I got turned around. I thought that's what happened. Okay, so I want to go down on the mini-map and to the right. Okay. Yeah. Echo herbs. Echo herbs don't matter though, because Fran can't really cast much of anything. Maybe I should make them be more stingy with their item usage, but I don't think it matters too much. If I really needed to worry about items, I would just have to grind in an area, and I don't really want to do that exactly. I mean, that's sort of what I'm doing now, because I'm just, you know, exploring the general area. But I think in general, it's something I don't want to be too concerned with. I thought Bosch cured sleep. Maybe I'm out of those. No, I'm not. I guess it's Fran that does it and nobody else does. Okay. I guess I'll do that. Well, one thing I guess I could do is make somebody immune to a status effect and then make sure that they are the one that will always cure other people of it if it ever comes up. I could do that, but that seems more like an optimization idea than it does something that I'd be too likely to use now. What is... oh, Sprinter is that weird bird thing. The chicken enemy type. Okay, I think this is the gate. So I'm gonna look at it. Okay. Yeah, it is a pretty tall gate. I know how you could fix the gate. Build a ladder. Yeah, no way to get there. Wait. Oh. Yeah, sure. Okay, so he lived somewhere and he just set out to go travel. The King of Nobradia saved them? I don't even remember who the King of Nobradia is. He dug the rock. Oh, okay, so this is a gate he built. Okay. Nobradia is the... I think it's the kingdom that was attacked like 2 years before the plot began. 2 years before the game started, like in the backstory. So they've been working on this for 2 years. Or they built it 2 years ago. I guess they built it 2 years ago and it broke recently. But like, you could build a ladder. You don't even need to have the gate there. You could have just left it as a big hole. But who knows? And now I have a counter for Moogles. So maybe it's a side quest that I go talk to them all? Tell them to get back to work. I guess that's what this must be. Yeah, defeat the pumpkins. What level are they? 32? Okay. I thought I saw it say 39, which would have been very confusing. Okay. Well, I guess I'll run around until I complete this side quest. Or, I don't even know if it's a side quest really, because I do have to go to the Fawn Coast later, but I don't think you need to go there through that gate in particular. Like, there's other ways to get there, I believe. Parry? How do you parry an arrow? Especially if you're a chicken with little T-Rex arms and a tiny beak. You parried the sword. Man, that's some talented chicken. I think it's just the characters missed at point blank range a big sphere, and they're too ashamed to admit it that they missed it, so they just pretend, oh, that was a parry. It's a crafty little devious thing. That's what's going on. I'm not incompetent. I know what I'm doing. Must be that. That's gonna be my... That's gonna be my thing. Like, I guess parrying a bow at point blank range could just be knocking the bow away so that the arrow goes astray. I mean, it would be pretty stupid to have a giant bow and go right up in someone's face so that they can just reach out at you. I mean, I guess that's what Fran kind of did, but... I mean, it's a chicken, it's hip height for her. So I don't know how much sense it makes, but oh well. Okay. Kill these mustached kings. I kind of like the design of that creature. Malboros are one of the more creative looking designs, but mostly I just like the weird stripy mouth with the mustache on it. It looks suitably ridiculous that I don't even care that it makes no sense. It's like overcomplicated in design like most of the things in this game, but it's overcomplicated in a way that I actually think is amusing rather than just confusing. Like, you get that its base is like weird vine tentacle things. And it's got a bunch of spikes all over its body that are just like short tentacles that are more like hair. But like all of that together with the smooth, sort of almost shaved face looking area, and then the mustache on top of that. So it's a mixture of elements that is definitely absurd, but yeah. Okay, the overseer is not one of the guys I need to tell to get back to work. I think I came from that direction, so I'll go this direction. Okay, this is just a broken path. I think presumably if I got charm. Maybe that's a spell. Yeah, presumably I can, if those bridges were fixed, the path through the forest would be much quicker. But okay. I'll get all of these Moogles to go back to work. Okay. If you must be literal. Oh. How long have they been on break? How do they know how many are on break still? And if they have like instant communication with the others, shouldn't they just tell all the others to get back to work? All right now. Oh, that's no good. He's scary when he gets mad. Okay, I guess there's 2 per thing. And they look identical. At least give them like different colored hats or something. I guess maybe it's like a uniform. Okay, I think I saw one other of these bungalows before on the way into the area. So probably I'll see. Is that the way I came from? I don't know. Okay. Oh, it actually just says where they are. I guess it makes sense that it would say stuff like that, but it still did not occur to me. And I did not even notice that there's a path I didn't take before. Okay. I'll try to remember where those 2 were. Okay. Attack the bunny. Okay. I want to go down, and I guess these are not. Okay. Well, they're weak against fire, so Panilla's fire oughta. Yeah, it mostly killed them all. I got fine wool. Good thing it didn't get burnt. I don't know if wool is easily burnt or not. I don't think it is. But I don't think it's particularly resistant to being burned either. The only thing I know about wool is that it has an oil on it that makes it resistant to water. So people that sail on ships would often have wool garments because it would wick the water, and then they'd be able to stay relatively comfortable when they're out on the ocean and there's a constant water spray around them. And that's about all I know about the fabric of wool. So yeah. And that's something that happened hundreds of years ago, you know, so modern sailors might not even use wool anymore. They probably have some different material that is more commonly used. Something that's kind of neat about reading about history in general is that a lot of history is very different things were established in history than what the modern era does, or than what is done in the modern era. So you can read about, like, not even like traditions, but like technologies and careers that used to exist that just flat out don't exist anymore because they used to be much more useful than they are now, or they just can't exist in the modern era. Like, I don't know how accurate it is exactly, but I know that sanitation in cities used to be handled by people dumping their waste into big pits called cesspools. That's where we get the cesspool is like a bad thing in the modern era. But people would dump all their waste and garbage in there. And there used to be a type of person that would look through all the garbage in these cesspools and try to dig out anything that might be useful, which is super terrible idea to contemplate that as a career, or that as the way you survive day to day. But it used to be that you might be able to recover useful stuff from that. It's basically, oh, there's that map that the guy dropped, I guess. But yeah, he dropped this map and then somebody put it in that urn. But anyway, it used to be that you could, there were people that would do that. And I think they also maybe, I don't know how cesspools were managed or how people like actually functionally, or how they operated in any way really. But like, it kind of makes sense that that would exist as a job, or that would exist as a, I don't know if job is really the right word, style of living survival, maybe? kind of makes sense that that would exist. I think. But that's kind of a thing that doesn't really exist now. But it makes sense in the sense that if you have a junkyard, or if you have like garbage bins or junkyards or whatever, that it does seem like there would be people that would accidentally throw out stuff that actually still has some value. Or not even necessarily accidentally, but you know, it doesn't have any value to them, but it might have value to somebody else. So it does make sense that there would be people that would fish through the giant pits of human waste to try to find usable things. Obviously not used in that status, but you know, if you picked up like a iron tool or something that got tossed out because it was bent, somebody tried to salvage the iron, you know, they'd clean it up and they'd, you know, bring it to a forge to sell it to the person who smithed iron to recycle the iron, you know, something like that. I think that seems like a realistic interaction that might happen. But like, there aren't people that do that anymore. There are junk divers, but to the same extent that that type of job was junk diving, it's radically different than what today's junk diving is. Or, you know, dumpster diving, I guess. Because you wouldn't, like, swim through an outhouse to do that dumpster diving. So, you know, dumpster diving is a lot more, a lot cleaner in the modern era. Oh, okay. Here's the other one. Okay. These guys really split up. Maybe the monsters don't like to attack them. Layabout. At least those Moogles look different. They're both dressed differently. Come with them to the gate? Yeah, sure. I was just gonna run back there on foot, but I guess if they're offering an escort, I may as well. Witness the power of Moogles. And that is a really complex looking gate. Really impressive looking. Okay. Cerobi Step. It seems like a one-time thing. Oh, okay. Oh. All of them. Some of them are going to the same place, but some of them are going to different places. I think you do get to see these guys again later on, but I don't remember where else they go. I mean, they're saying where they go, but I have no idea. Like what in particular these places are. Although I do think that there is a door in like the ruins. Yeah. I think there's a high level quest where you help them open up a door that is in this particular spot. that you have to fight some boss monsters to fight. I got a sash. Well, I guess the fact that he gave me anything at all is pretty good. I think there's a save thing here. I'm gonna just go here to see it. I think I'll go here, maybe try to fight a monster and then leave. I do like the design of this area. I remember this being a pretty nice looking beach. And of course the Empire has their ships.
Choice. If we'd taken the easy way and come by airship, one of those patrols would no doubt have been quick to roll out the red carpet. We're on the Empire's doorstep now, so we shouldn't have to worry quite so much. But that's no excuse to get sloppy. It is still a long road to the capital.
What? I thought this was not the way you go. They did say a cutscene of where the characters wanted to go, but I don't remember them saying they go here. Mandragora. Well, it looks like these enemies are appropriate-ish level for us to fight, so I guess maybe this is the way forward. I do not remember that, because I thought we fought the boss in the forest. I mean, I know that's a boss fight, but I guess I don't remember the game as well as I thought I did. But yeah, this area looks nice. It looks like a coastline. Some of the rocks are a little outlandish, but I don't think that's a bad thing. The trees look like regular trees that would exist. You know, there's no like massive eyeball in the ocean watching me or anything like that. There's no like castle or something out there. Okay, well. But yeah, I don't mind large structures like that existing. Giant rocks that form loops or stacks in odd shapes. That sort of thing is fun. There's a little inlet for the ocean there. Presumably the world has high tides and low tides, maybe, but you never see that. Actually, that would be an interesting mechanic to have in a game world. Have like high tides and low tides that actually like change the landscape somewhat. Or just have like the level geometry change substantially based on a day-night cycle. Because you probably wouldn't want to follow like real high tides, low tides, because that would be very confusing to level designers to make, because there's like a 12-hour high tide, low tide cycle, but within that there's also a 30-ish day cycle that's based on the moon. that also makes the tides fluctuate up and down a little bit. You know? And when those things line up, it makes a change of what the coastline looks like. And putting something like that in a game would be very, probably doesn't strike me as good game design. If you just had like a day-night cycle, or like a one-day cycle, something like that. One day is high tide, the next day is low tide, that kind of thing. That could be an interesting design choice for an environment. I think it'd be really hard to actually do, which is probably why it's never been done, that I recall, really. But you know. Seems like it'd be interesting. I think there's still a lot of interesting ideas that could be done that, you know, haven't been done yet. Which, you know, for the most part, games and just art in general tends to develop in a slow fashion. Like most art tends to follow trends, and creativity happens in slow sort of progression, where people do small experiments over time that do add up, but are like the small experiments build up over time until you wind up with something radically new. So in terms of games, if you've never played a genre of game before, and then you play it after it's been in development for like 20 years, then when the first time you see it, you'll think it's an amazingly new thing. But really all it is the minor innovations that led up to it are all just things you never got exposed to, and for the most part the game concepts and ideas are things that have existed for a while. They've just been, you know, developed independently of your observation, so you never realize it. Like, for all I know, there is a game out there that has like a high tide, low tide sort of dynamic, where the world changes dynamically based on a clock. Like, just because I'm not aware of any game that does that doesn't mean that there isn't one that already exists. I mean, there might be, well, I think there's definitely versions of it that do sort of exist, because this game has the example of the desert region that's either a desert or a swamp. So, I mean, that's kind of the sort of thing that I'm talking about, but it's also sort of not, because it's just two different maps that load, and when you're actually running it around in the region, the maps don't actually change as you play it in that area. It's just based on I guess a game clock or something. It loads either one map or the other one. But you know, the absolute like kernel of the idea is definitely, I think, is along those lines. Even if the execution of it isn't quite what I'm envisioning or describe, you know, the elemental concept of it is there. And the thing about this game is that the environments kind of don't matter. They're pretty to look at, but all the environments are kind of like, the game isn't really about exploration. There's neat stuff to look at, but the game is very much not like, the shape of the land doesn't make a real difference. Not like how in Mario games that the shape of the land makes a difference. I guess some of the Mario games have stuff like that too. Mario 64 had that level that you, I'm trying to think what it is. The level you can lower the level of the water, raise it and lower it as you play. Where it has the clock level. Mario 64 had the clock level that all the elements of the world are on a fast or slow or freeze timer based on how you enter it. That's similar enough. But yeah, the thing I'm thinking of is more like a Mario style game that has a world that changes dynamically like that. A world that changes dynamically as you play, so you know. Actually, come to think of it, if a concept exists like that at some point in the future, it will probably be done in a Mario game first before it is done anywhere else. Or I should say done well, because there's a pretty big difference between being able to just do a concept and do it in a way that is actually enjoyable. Which, you know, nothing against experimental attempts that fail, but, or no offense to like ideas that people try out that don't work, but most of the time experimental ideas like that don't work very well. But one of the nice things about the Mario games is that they generally have a really good idea of what they're doing. I got a bent staff. But that's the thing that's always nice about them. They know what they're doing. Mandragora. All the vegetables in this world are... I guess those aren't hostile enemies. It's kind of neat. I wonder if there's a reason why random enemies, random creatures in this world are not hostile. Maybe it's to make the world feel more realistic. Because the fact that not everything is gonna... You're not gonna ever go outside and have like random raccoons attacking you and, you know... You would go outside and have Starling attacking you, but that's like a unique creature. It's probably that, I guess. Most creatures just don't randomly attack. So yeah, I think that's probably what it is. They wanted to do that to add some believability to the world. It's a nice little detail. Yeah, I got to the trading camp. Woohoo!
race you to the water.
Why the capital?
The Nethicite. I must destroy it.
Are you sure? You don't want it for yourself?
Hey, he's just pointing out they could just
Use its
steal it.
power to restore Dalmasca? Something like that? The best intentions invite the worst kind of trouble.
Lusting for ever greater power. Blinded by the Nethicite. Is that how you see me?
That does sound like someone I know.
You don't really know
He
her
was
though, do
obsessed
you?
with Nethicite. It was all he cared about.
Come over here.
He'd babble nonsense, blind to aught but the stone's power.
Like I said,
He'd talk about some Enna, or was it Vena?
except for you.
No matter.
Thank you.
Everything he did to get closer to the Nethicite, to understand it. He made airships, weapons. He even made me a judge.
You were a judge?
Yeah, see, they're just finding this out for now, because you just started randomly talking
Part of
about
the
it.
past I'd rather forget. It didn't last long. I ran. I left the judges and him. Sidolphus Demon Bonanza. Draclaw Laboratories' very own Dr. Sid. That's when he lost his heart to Nethicite. Lost himself. And I suppose that's when I lost my father. Don't follow in his footsteps.
Okay, so his dad turned into a mad scientist.
I ran away. I couldn't stand seeing him like that, a slave to the stone. So I ran. Free at last. Funny I went for the Dusk Shard. How could I have known that it was Nethicite? And then, of course, I met you. All that running, and I got nowhere. It's time to end this. Cut my ties to the past.
It's hard to leave the past behind. I know.
Okay, she's gonna talk about the prince, I think. Okay, yeah.
Marriage of convenience. Symbol of the alliance between Nebradia and Dalmasca. This is how they see our match.
They do they?
These roles we play. I must admit, I find it wearying.
Are they saying they don't actually like each other?
I will play mine.
Okay,
would
I
have
guess
no
that's
other.
not what that means. So it was a forced marriage, but they loved each other anyway. Kind of removes some of the
The
drama
choice
of
is
that.
yours to make. But
I
don't
guess
give
he
your
is
heart to
dead,
a
so...
stone. You're too strong for that, princess.
I pray you're right, Balthier.
If you use the magic stones to gain power, I'll lose my respect for you. I don't know what to... I mean, she wants the power to free her people from, you know, being dominated by foreign power. I don't really know if that's the correct way to judge that kind of motivation. But, you know, his deal was that you go crazy when you mess around with the stones. Which, you know, is canonically true. But, like, why would... I don't know. I guess at this point he's kind of trusted, so if he's saying that and giving that warning to them, then it makes sense. there's places you can get to with the Chocobos that you can't get without them. You know, hire a bird to get to hidden locations and whatnot. Let's see, what does this have? All sorts of improved weapons. Okay, well, I'll at least have some loot to sell. Okay. I forgot they had this cutscene. But yeah, her plan was to walk into the capital, find the research laboratory where they are holding these super stones that have crazy magical properties and can explode with the force of a nuclear bomb, and just walk inside where they're stored and then destroy them. Like, I guess, considering that they can just basically be captured and walk out of captivity repeatedly over and over, I guess it does kind of make sense that their plan is to just walk inside the enemy base and destroy the thing they don't want the enemy to have, and then presumably just walk out. I guess it does make sense in that context, but, you know, I believe, I mean, she did not know that Balthier had a connection to somebody that works inside the laboratory until just now. And I think the way you actually do get in is he uses his connections to help the party sneak in there. So, like, their plan really just happened to all come together. Just on the way. Very convenient, but, you know, that's most stories kind of operate at some level of super convenience, so it seems like it wouldn't be very honest to like hold this story accountable for something like that. Wow, that's 5,980. That's a lot, but I think I'll buy that later probably. Chronos tier. Okay, I think I want to probably buy other stuff for now. Oh, have access to the higher level magics. Well, giant stone bow. Well, I have 57,000. Maybe I'll buy that for Fran. What else is there? Goku pole? Goku pole? Let's see. She already has the golden staff. Maybe I'll buy armors. And looks like for the most part people can't equip these just because I did not actually buy the upgrade for them. But sure, I'll just give that to Fran. I preemptively bought the things that would allow me to equip these, so sure, Fran gets the benefit of the good armor this time. Good armor and the good weapon. Light armor 7. What did I buy before? Oh, also a light armor 7. Guess she's immune to blinding, that's good. Half damage from fire. Oh, I guess I can go back and fight the boss in the woods if I wanted to. Equip everybody with this. So I think that boss uses primarily fire attacks. So I could equip fire resistance armor and probably be all good. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see. Bio is... Yeah, bio is probably a good choice for me to have. Turn one foe to stow. Heavily damage one foe. Wind damage. Vanish Ga. I don't remember that being a thing. Like, I do remember Vanish being a status effect, but for some reason I don't remember make everybody invisible status effect. Okay. Let's buy those. Traveler. I think Traveler and Horology were basically the same thing, but I never remember what I want to do with those. Reflect. Well, let's see. Probably want to keep the protective armor that Bosch has on. Maybe I'll get the black cowl and the black garb, and then give Finello the armor thing that allows her to actually wear those. Okay. Well, that's good information to have. Wait, that's not what I meant. I meant this. I'm just gonna buy the mystic armor thing that I need. And then that'll be it. Wait, that's Time Battle Mage. I need black magic. Okay, those are the even higher level ones. Okay, there we go. Okay. I'm just buying the magic so that I can, so I'll have whatever for later. 'Cause, you know, collecting everything that the game has is sort of like a passive goal. Oh, it makes her faster too. Well, it raises her speed stat. I don't know if it actually makes them faster in combat or anything like that. Absorb wholly, reduce MP cost by half. Why would I not have this equipped for every magic user in a boss fight? I guess maybe later on I would probably buy so many ethers and magic point restorers that I'd... Oh wow, there's a bunch of things that are available. White moose. Sorbet. Okay, that's what Sorbet was mad about. I knew there was lore that, like, would explain it, but I guess I should have talked to Sorbet earlier. Yes, I will go speak to Sorbet. I actually know where he is. Because I commented on him at the beginning of the stream. That's convenient. Well, I probably won't be going there. Ringworm. Oh. I gotta talk to this guy too. Oh no, I didn't. Okay, what's this? A snake. Crimson Serpent. Tavern Master. Okay. Well, all of these guys are in Ravenastra. I think I'd want to probably fight the rank 2 ones, finish the rank 2 ones before I start on rank 5 though. There's a lot more now though. Yes, I will go eventually speak to them. I don't even know why it gives you the option of whether you go speak to the petitioner. Vorpal Bunny. Yeah, that's the Alpha Village. Yeah, they don't like talking to outsiders, but now that I forced my way in, one of them actually wants help with something. That's nice. Okay. It's one of those crocodile head, turtle back, elephant leg creatures. Okay, that's in Nalbana. Okay, well, Nalbana's a few screens back. I did not mean to skip over it, but I guess I did. But, oh well. I'll head back there eventually. What do you say? Yeah, that definitely is a believable story. Yeah, it's like a waypoint camp. If I recall correctly, I travel through the coast some more, and then I head across a plains area, or a canyon area. I forget what it was exactly. I can envision it in my mind, but I don't know how to describe what it is. Maybe it's a plateau. We head through the plateau, and then I think there's a cave you go into, and then you go to Arcadia from there. So you're like crawling in through the undercity to get into the main capital, I think. Yeah, it's just a writer doing research. That seems like a pretty good idea. Have that as a random character that you can talk to. Okay. The Sochin Cave Palace. Yes, I did know that that exists. Because that's the thing that I'm just talking about it. Okay, it's called Chaita Uplands. Actually, I don't know if that's an area I need to go. What do these people say? Oh, this person also knows about it. Oh, okay, maybe that's a higher level area that I'm not supposed to go. Camp filled with hunters. Older women are in this corner of the camp, I guess. I guess that means that Sikh is what the female of the species looks like. Or he's just hanging out with them and laughing and trying to get attention, but nobody's paying attention to him. What does this guy say? I just saw him all alone there. Okay. He just tells you trivia about Arcades, what it's like. Which I really don't remember. I don't really remember if the... Wait, that's the giant stone bow? I guess it kind of lives up to its name, but... I don't know what to make of that. It looks so ridiculous, it reminds me of like Monster Hunter designs. Like, I know that the game is full of a lot of ridiculous designs, but like, for some reason, I did not expect a bow to look like this in the game. I mean, it's... I like how absurd it looks, but it was still unexpected. Okay. Well, back to rambling pointlessly about whatever. Silver Lobo. It's kind of early to see another wolf swap, but okay. Yeah. Well, I think that's probably get used to seeing games that have more of a creature design budget than older games used to have. Because older games, they used to design like 24 creatures in total and then have to decide which five models they're going to use in each area, and then they just swap out the colors so that you can fight like enemies with 100 different names. But you know, you fight different versions of the same enemy over and over. You know, I mean, that's the way they used to design them. And I think the fact that games are almost never designed like that now is you can kind of almost forget that that's what games used to do. Games like this, rather. Because it really depends on what the... wow, there's just a whole line of these. I guess these are supposed to indicate stuff that washed up on shore. Still, that's a lot in a pretty orderly arrangement. But anyway, it's easy to forget that, you know, games used to have budgetary limits with how many of these models they could put in. You know, with all the different animations that the model has to do to sell the idea of what you're doing. You know, they'd have a design team of like artists, 3D modelers, and animators. They'd have like 30 of them, and the 30 would have to create, you know, all the creature designs and do all the animations for them, and then design all the bosses, which each have to have unique animations and modeling, and then they'd have to design all the characters and all their unique animations. So, you know, at the end of the day, they're actually designing hundreds of them, but, you know, a couple hundred things. But the mundane, everyday, day-to-day enemies they'd have to design a handful of them that gets reused a lot. But now, you know, with game budgets for the really high-profile games being so much larger now than they used to be, now they can double the size of the animator team, and instead of having 25 enemies that they do all that work for, now they can have like 50 or 60 of them, so you don't notice it as much as you used to. You know, it's just easy to forget how far things have progressed, I guess. Not that I don't mind playing the older games, but, you know, there's a lot of things that if you've not exposed yourself to something in 10 years, you can forget what it genuinely was like. That's part of the neat thing about playing older games every once in a while. You can kind of appreciate the development of the genres more if you aren't just playing new games all the time. That's why I will go back and replay games like this, so I can appreciate what's going on more. You know. Plus, I think generally, I'm more, or I'm less picky with what games actually are. Like, I don't need to particularly think a game is good to enjoy playing it. I can just sort of admire it for what it is. Like, that region there is offshore coral reef, maybe? Or shallows in the ocean. I don't know what that's supposed to be. But I can just sort of look at things and appreciate them for what they are. Another thing that's an artifact of this game being as old as it is I don't think there's a day-night cycle. Yeah, it looks like the shadows aren't moving. There's no day-night cycle. Like, the shadows are all in the same spot. And like, if this was a modern game, there would almost certainly be a day-night cycle. I think partly just because graphics engines are able to handle stuff like that a lot better than they used to be able to. I think that's probably mostly it. And it's a secret path, I guess. Okay. Yeah, this is the split up that actually takes me to the spot I was trying to go. Ooh. Yeah, it's another one of those dinosaurs. Oh wait, that's not the same dinosaur. Kinda has a shark sort of look to it. Pyrolisk. You know, I would think of Pyrolisk would be like a fire lizard and not like a weird pterodactyl thing. It just seems more like a name that would be more lizardy than birdy. But I like the design of that thing. I think it is basically... It is a pretty different looking model than the other T-Rexes. I think it's shorter, maybe? Yeah, I think it is shorter, so it might actually be a different animation model. The head is shaped a little differently, I think. I think it's a tweaked version of the model. Like, it's not the exact same one. Like, the Bagolese or... Oh wait, Bagoli is the name of this one. But the weird bird things with the belts on its arms, or... That's what these are, with all the same animations, I think. Except these ones have more ornate armors on them that somehow are on them. What were the other things called? Arvises, maybe? Okay. Woo. Judicer's staff. Okay, and save point, I think, and then yep. Then the entrance to the next spot. Oh, hey, it's a Viera Traveler. Yeah, freedom is important to me, but I didn't know my little sister would follow. I made a mistake because while I value freedom, I think she shouldn't. And clearly, if I stayed behind, she wouldn't have also left. I guess it being her little sister is like, I'm 502 years old and she's 501, and I don't think she's wise enough to have made the decision to leave our homelands. That one extra year would have made the difference. Okay, so whatever this is, it's an uplands. It's the Cheetah Uplands. I don't know if that's an actual real term of some kind. For all I know, there actually is a type of a savanna, plateau, valley terrain type that is named an uplands. But I don't think I've ever heard of it before. I mean, I've played this game before, but you know, there's a reason why I couldn't remember the name of this location at all. Yep. Traveling on foot, slowly making my way towards the enemy capital. That bow is just... I still think that's like a Monster Hunter looking design for a bow. One of the nice things about Monster Hunter is that the designs of it are so ridiculously over the top that I sort of love it just for that reason. Like, you know, absurdity definitely has its place in entertainment. It can be a lot of fun to have absurd elements and absurd looks to it. The only reason why I have semi-complained about absurdity in this particular game is that at some point absurdity can kind of reach a point where it makes it hard to visually determine what you're looking at or what's going on. But like, the absurdity of this ridiculous stone bow, that's really acceptable, I think, and really admirable in a way. Because, you know, there's so many swords that, you know, you see a sword that's like, it's a steel sword that has a sheen of ice on it. Like, yeah, you've seen 500 designs like that. But a bow that looks like it was made out of stone riveted with metal, like, I'm sure that has been done lots before too, but it's not nearly as standard as this sword that Bash has there, or even this. What is this? It's like a wizard staff, I think. Yeah, it was a wizard staff. Like wizard staffs and swords are like the standard of fantasy weaponry that you see. And both of those look kind of like something you'd expect to see, but you generally wouldn't expect to see this. So, you know, it's still, I mean, the string isn't very visible, but you can still kind of read that this is supposed to be a bow, even if it is really silly looking. Woo! Okay, I don't know how long I will keep going for. Not particularly. I wasn't particularly going to planning on progressing the story that far in this playthrough, and honestly, I forgot that Balthier, halfway to the capital, he shares that nugget of information about, oh yeah, my dad, he like runs the lab that we're heading towards. The top secret secure lab. I forgot he said that information on this quest. I remembered that was a part of the plot, but I didn't remember that he said it halfway through their journey. Which, you know, kind of makes their whole break-in to the lab plot make more sense. Or it's more believable that that's something that they could even achieve. Oh, wow. I thought I was going to get everybody killed because fighting one of those snakes is pretty taxing on my party composition. And there were, what, 4 of them, I think? But somehow they were able to actually survive. I guess running away made it so that some of the snakes stopped fighting my party, so that's at least part of it. Okay. Oh, there isn't a way forward over here. It's just a dead end where you can fight stuff. It's those weird panthers with the melon heads. The giant whisker tendrils. Okay. I don't think sap is a status effect that goes away on its own. But I don't think any of what the characters have right now, the characters I have equipped, can get rid of sap. Oh well. I'll just run around still and hope that it won't hinder me too much. Pinello attacked a creature that was further back there than... I didn't even see this frog. At least his horns are more impressive than the other frog. I think it's basically the same creature model. Yeah, it's got that weird fishtail sort of flourish on its back. Pointed horn, as opposed to a blunt horn, I guess. Oh. It's an Arcadian citizen. Yeah, this is a story thing. Yeah, sure. I'll ask about the dire threat. Yep. Why does this random kid want me to do this? There's something bad in the cave, but I don't know what it is. Yeah, that makes sense. Boy, this kid is way more dedicated to this task than his dad is. I guess maybe he's a spoiled rich kid, so maybe that makes sense. Okay, so that's how they explain me getting into the city, by going through these caves. Like, I remember that it's something that you did, but I didn't remember, like, why that is an unguarded path into the city, or like why there's no checkpoints or whatever. You know, it's the old trope of getting into the fortress by crawling through the sewers, basically. But yeah. Okay, so no idea what it looks like. I don't really remember. Confirm location. Yep. Okay, so he doesn't know what it looks like, but the hunters that ran into the cave ran out. I guess they probably turned back before they actually fought whatever creature it was. But if they don't know what it looks like, how did they know that there's even a thing in there to fight? Like, I could come back with a cow or something and, you know, a cowhide and say, yes, this is the thing that you were talking about. Marlborough Overking? Sure, I'll try to fight that. It's got that mustache. This one's not stripy like the other one was. Okay. But if I recall correctly, that boss actually does block my way forward, so I do need to fight it, but I don't know why. I don't know why half these hunts you couldn't just lie and tell them you did it. Because most of them say things like, "Oh, it's just an ordinary dog. Bring me its slobber dish if you want me to believe you defeated it, because its pet food bowl is not something that you could possibly get without killing it, so if you bring that to me, then I'll believe you killed it." Most of the quest givers say things like that. So I don't know why. I don't really know why that would be a thing exactly, but, or, you know, why you can't just lie, but, you know, I mean, it's a game, so there's going to be some conventions that are game conventions that aren't meant to be thought about very hard. Oh wow, those magics are pretty cheap. There. I used the magic deliberately because it was going to be much more effective than trying to cure myself before Penelo used any magic. There were two of those enemies, so defeating them quickly was the priority. Okay. Maybe the bridge that was back in the forest was the forest swamp location. Maybe that was the entrance to the Nabudis Necro Hall or whatever it's called. That might be what it was. That's probably what it is. Bosch has sap on him now. Well, you know. I'm doing pretty good, I think, overall. For just sort of wandering around randomly, not knowing what I'm doing. And also, like, I'm not selling any of my old equipment, so I'm not really able to upgrade all my characters' gear at all the points I could upgrade them. Of course, doing it this way also means that when I do upgrade someone, they get a relatively large boost to their power. Considering that they're not just upgrading to the next level of weapon, but like skipping a couple tiers of weapon. Okay. They didn't even like explain why they wanted to fight the creature in the sewer area. At least I don't think he explained it. He just said that there's a creature there and they want to kill it. I might not, or I might be missing what they said, but you know, it's kind of the risk you run when you're playing a game and only half paying attention to it because you're commenting about whatever's going on in it. Like, wow, that kid. He ran all this way chasing after a Banga that ran away. Like, it's really dedicated to run past all these magic cheetahs in order to do this. Like, that's some level of dedication. It's pretty laudable. That kid will make a good, very, I don't know about good exactly, but that kid will make a very dedicated royalty one day. I guess that's probably what people try to train their kids to be like, if they're like a member of a noble or ruling class. They'll tend to like train their kids to be focused and paying attention to things. Okay, well, yeah, you got the counter in, that's good. Well, I don't know if this is, yeah, okay, yeah, this is it. It's the caves! Yeah, I guess I'll save it. I don't think this is an area that, like, I don't think this is a place I can goof in. I think I can leave if I want.
Hey,
I guess it's...
you sure this rabbit hole's really the way into Arcades?
Better a hare unseen than a rat in a trap.
You talked to a
And again,
kid that told you it
if you
could
prefer
be.
to go knocking on the front gates of the city, be my guest.
Wait,
But
when
what
did
about
these
once
characters
inside?
say they needed to come
Won't
here?
the city watch find us?
We'll do what we can to blend into the crowd. Our names may be notorious, but our faces are not far known.
True, true. You're a princess and we didn't even recognize you.
I noticed.
By we, he meant he. I mean, it would help if they actually had a change of clothes, but I don't know if that's something that they actually do in this. Hey, this cave doesn't have music. Apart from level up music. That's more fanfare than music. Is this the area where you fight a tomato clan, maybe? Oh, okay. He did trigger it, but... And he still has the sap status effect on him. Ooh, maggoty flesh. That's clearly treasure worth something, right? Actually, I want to look at that. What is this? What does it even say about maggoty flesh? Is assumed to be maggoty. No one has been able to look at it long enough to know for sure. Okay, so it's used in, like, magic. I guess that makes sense. It would be valuable to someone. Normally, you have to go dig up a graveyard to find it, but you can find it just fine in these places. Iguion. Iguion? Yeah, I guess it's Iguion. I'll try to fight it. Okay. Can't remember if there's a save point actually inside this place. I think there's not, and that's why it gives you the option to save it at the entrance. But yeah, I don't remember them saying that they can, in the cutscene where they talk about taking the route into the capital, I don't think I remember them saying that they'd be going through these caves in order to get here. Oh, it's another one of them chickens. Yeah, that chicken has a beard. The giant frog parried my arrow. You know, I could see arrow parrying being a thing, like in I think what, martial arts movies. Sometimes they'll have somebody throw a spear or something, and a martial arts master can catch it in midair. But like, that's a frog, it's not a martial arts master. I don't think it's gonna be catching any arrows with its stubby forearms. Or the big spherical chicken earlier. But yeah. Probably what'll happen is I'll go into the boss chamber and then I'll get killed. And then I'll have to restart at the cave, at the the cave mouth. I think if that happens, I might backtrack. I forgot that this area doesn't have music. It was kind of weird to have it be the one place in the game maybe that doesn't have music. Gate of the Soul Word. Yeah, use the key. And I'll probably lose this fight. But we'll see. It's a giant palace that's buried underneath the city that's above it. Okay, yeah, it is the Tomato Clan. And they all defeated each other. Or not. I guess they're a comedy troupe. Maybe I will see if I can use a moat on them. Onion, Queen. Yeah, maybe that one. Let's see, what other moat could I use? Lightning Fang. Let's see. Yeah, maybe I'll just use Lightning Fang. I got it recently, so I think that almost implies that it's more powerful. Immune. The vegetable enemies are immune against lightning. It's kind of unexpected. that was kind of disappointing, but I guess I'll, what is it, Rhyme Fang? I guess I'll see if they're immune against ice. Okay, they are. Okay, that's just money. I guess if they don't, I guess if they run away and they aren't using the opportunity to heal, I guess it's not necessarily that bad a thing. I gave him a quickening, I guess. Channel the dark miasma, damaging one foe. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I'll use it on Pumpkin Star, I guess. It wants me to do something? What? I guess I don't remember that very well. Let's see, Princess Kiss. So, one of those things did actually work. Okay, so they do cure each other. I guess I'll try to focus on the one that deals damage to all of them, but I mostly want to take out at least one of those enemies. Pumpkin Star. There's probably like a particular enemy that's best to use it on. Wait, I already. Okay, Aquaria did work. Or Aqua did work. Or Aquara. Let's see, they were immune to thunder. I can't remember if I used fire on them or not. I think ice didn't work. Okay, fireworks. can take... I think I have to just do this. And then maybe I can defeat them. Okay. She does not have the appropriate black magics. If I can take out one of them, maybe. Okay. Ash can be using the dark magic to beat it. Or, not dark magic. Arcane magic. Dark. She has the heavy cure magic. Ash is asleep, right? I don't think Fran cures sleep. All 5 of them are still there. I guess if any one of them are close to dead, they all run away. So they can heal. This is, this is rather difficult. Warp? Yeah, I don't think warp will work. I think dark might be the single most effective thing. Okay, that dark damage doesn't do much. Oh, and Fran fell. I'm running out of the Phoenix Downs. Okay. Okay, let's see. Ash fell. Okay. One of them ran off. I guess Mandragora Prince is the closest one. Oh man. Well, that's crazy. Okay. I think this is a fight. Oh. I ran out of Phoenix Downs. Which means it has to be those two. Well, I guess I may as well go for it if I can. They all run in randomly and attack, and then run away. So they're basically designed to be as difficult, or as annoying as possible. So yeah, I think this is almost certainly an encounter that I need to have a more well-balanced and prepared party to fight. Which luckily it saves at the beginning so that I don't need to backtrack as far, or so you don't lose as much progress as you could. Well, that's good to know. Okay. Well, it's time to head back. Okay. Well, I'm going to reverse course and head back to the hunters group, I think. Well, maybe I'll run around in here briefly first.
Hey, you sure this rabbit hole's really the way into Arcades?
Better a hare unseen than a rat in a trap. Then
Yeah.
again, if you'd prefer to go knocking on the front gates of the city, be my guest.
Where are the front gates of the
But
city?
what about once we're inside? Won't the city watch find us?
We'll do what we can to blend into the crowd. Our names may be notorious, but our faces are not far known.
True, true. You're a
Won't their
princess and we didn't even
costumes give them
recognize you.
away? Because
I
they like
noticed.
always wear the same things. I think maybe they do have a costume change when they're in the city, maybe? I seem to vaguely remember that, but I don't really know if that's the case. But I'll run around in here a little bit and just get the loot from this area. Just so I'll have more loot to sell when I return to the coast area. Oh hey, they don't have... Last time I was here, the Bosch still had the sap status effect. I guess the save didn't heal them, but the reload did. That's kind of weird. Well, maybe the save feature doesn't save current status conditions and hit points. It just saves location and character equipment and stuff, but not like battle status. I guess that makes sense if it doesn't save that, because usually all the save points give you full life and magic, so it wouldn't make sense to code it differently just for those. You will have an opportunity to save screens just for that. It seems like it'd be a little bit odd if it had it just for that. But anyway, I guess next time I play, I will have plenty of money to equip my party before I head them out in the same direction. because if I plan to go all the way back to the hunter's camp, there's an equipment shop there, so that should work, I think, next time. Even though those characters aren't leveled up any. Yeah, they're now the characters that are behind on levels. But it won't matter because my equipment will be better. At least I suspect it won't matter. I thought they were going to attack the frog. I guess not. I have to manually attack it. Okay. Well then. It's a huge natural cave. Yeah, real world caves are not nearly this clean and orderly. Or huge. Either. Which, you know, if there's any fantasy terrain that is worthwhile to exaggerate, I think caves are some of the neatest to exaggerate. Not that this is like really fantasy exaggeration. Not to any really large extent, but you know, because you could have fantasy caves which contain like whole oceans and unique biomes with bioluminescent creatures running around. Although I think they're kind of limited still in what they could do in this era because they still need to have, they can't do like dynamic lighting, so they're kind of limited on what in this era they could pull off with caves. I think caves have some of the greatest potential for interesting fantasy architecture, because you could really have them be almost anything at all. Just because caves are such a bizarre environment that, you know, they're pretty alien just on the basis of them being a place that you almost never go to or never see. Like, nobody on the planet is gonna have a cave be a mundane environment for them. I mean, there might be like a crazy person that's like a really experienced cave diver that has it as a mundane environment because they are constantly studying. Like, they dedicate, you know, 20 years of their life to exploring a cave and trying to get to the deepest point of the cave and map it all out. Like, somebody like that, maybe it'd be a mundane environment. But still, caves like twist and turn in all sorts of random directions and have like sheer drops that go down for hundreds of feet and narrow passageways and whatnot. You know, even as far as what caves are like, it's not a type of environment that you would have any sort of that has any sort of parallel to the real the rest of the world environment. So in terms of fantasy, it's like you could do so much with it. But a cave would be also really hard to make a game environment out of, I think. Because the thing about caves that I think, you know, I'm not an expert on pretty much anything I talk about, but I think caves are known for being confusing to navigate. Like, you can easily get lost in them, or easily turned around. Like, even if there's only one direction to go in the cave, you can still get turned around in them because of the lack of landmarks and uneven geometry. So like trying to make that into a game environment would, you know, it's a big problem if you get easily turned around and confused in a game environment, because then it makes the game confusing and irritating to try to play through. But you know, you can fix that in a fantasy cave environment, because if you discard things like realism, you can just make it spacious enough to the point where, you know, you can have things like landmarks. You can have like areas that aren't just rocky hills and, you know, bits of rubble that are strewn all over the floor that creates little ridges and pockets of different shapes. Like, you don't have to have that in a fantasy cave. You can clear all that out and make it more easily navigatable. But you could also have things like, you know, waterfalls that come out of the ceiling and create a river that flows down to a dam or whatever. You know, you could have pillars of rock that come down out of the ceiling and go into the floor, and you have to like travel up a ridge that runs the circumference of the pillar to go up into the ceiling. Boy, that snake's really trying to get away. I guess it makes sense that that enemy would go away, but or run away, but it's still kind of odd to actually see it. Like, wow, the enemy is running because it's on the precipice of dying. I wonder if it's still over here. No, it looks like it escaped. Because I didn't hunt it down. I guess maybe enemies here inflict sap, so... Well, I guess my other group has Van in it, and he has regen. I guess I probably could have survived that battle if I tweaked it so Van wasn't casting regen, but just Kira. Because regen's more of a either out of party or out of battle spell, or a it's either an out of battle spell or or just a minor buff spell, not a I'm fighting a boss fight spell. So yeah, I think probably that would have made at least somewhat of a difference. Well, and I think instead of quitting here, I will continue the rest of the way to get back to the camp along the coastline. No problem with collecting a little more loot. But yeah, this place looks like it's it's meant to be like a savanna cliffside valley or something. I don't know. I don't think do geological or geographical features have rigid defined name categories, or are they just, that's what the locals called them, so we call those specific areas that have those features a name. And like different cultures have different names for a certain style of landscape. Like, you know, I know a desert is something that is defined as having below 1/4 inch rainfall per year or something. And I know that's just how like a desert is defined, and it's not a geographical, it's not like a geographical feature, but you know, what usually comes to mind is a desert is something that has is dominated by a sandy terrain primarily. So that's typically the thing that we think of as a desert, and it doesn't have much plant life. But that's how they like define it, and it's like a geographical feature, but it's not like, you know, the way geographers define it or weather people define it is different than how like geographers might define it, or how you think of it, because not all deserts are sandy wastelands. Some of them are stony, and some, like Antarctica, are icy, where they have frozen water, but they actually don't really receive rainfall. They just get all their frozen water as condensed from the water vapor in the air. I don't know. So like areas in games that are called savannas all have a certain style that look like African plains, or plains from Africa that you see in like documentaries. And is that, I would think that's just the name for the region that the locals have is savanna. But like the basic geographical features of that place exist in other areas, I think. But I think if they specifically are not in Africa, they're not called savannas, they're called other things. I think that's how it works. But I don't know. If anyone's there, I don't know if any of you would happen to know. But I think it's kind of late right now to expect anybody to be there. So I don't really know. It's that shark T-Rex. Its eyes are too far forward in its head. Looks kind of weird, but I can see why they would design it to have its eyes far forward in its head like that. Predators tend to have eyes that are more forward on its head than to its sides. So it kind of makes sense if you wanted to design a predator animal, you'd put its eyes far forward, but on a T-Rex-ish looking design, that looks kind of odd. Okay. Well, I'm gonna be back in the hunter camp pretty soon. Maybe I should go out and try to do one of those hunts. Or I could do several of them, maybe, because I have the I have a bunch of teleport stones. I don't need to travel there anywhere on foot, really. Could also double back and fight that boss fight. I got a Francisca. I think that's the name of an axe. I want to see what it is. Yeah, it is. It's the name of an axe. I was wondering that because I seem to vaguely remember that being a Final Fantasy axe name, but I don't even know what that is. Is there like a real-world axe called a Francisca, or is that like... I mean, I guess that's probably where they got the name from, but I don't think I've seen that name for an axe before, or anywhere but maybe Final Fantasy games. It's probably something like that, though. Probably some historical axe style that was named that. That's where they get it from. And they just keep reusing the names across all the games because it's easy to have that kind of legacy thing that you just carry over as a naming scheme rather than trying to have a particular every time you adopt a completely new set of names. Although I think it'd be a lot better if they, like, every time they did it, they tried to get weapon names or weapon categories from different regions or different cultural traditions and use those. Like, I don't know if they have any particular design purpose, or I don't know if they have any particular design ideas in mind when they create a lot of these. Like, we're gonna build this world off of Eastern European traditions, or we're going to build this world off of, or like Eastern European architecture, or we're gonna build this world off of Polynesian architecture. Like, you know, a lot of people that design things make choices like that. You know, Central American, you know, architecture and design is going to be our choice. So we're going to design all our fantasy buildings around that. You know, that's the kind of thing that most of them that just decide to create things do. Which I think that's neat. You can wind up with a complete looking, consistent design aesthetic, and it can look unique every time you do it. Like, I think Final Fantasy X had a pretty... Its designs looked pretty ridiculous too, but they had a certain aesthetic of, like, Polynesian culture looking architecture and stuff. But, like, I don't know if this one does. But I think if they, like, researched names of weapons that would exist in that culture... Yeah, I don't have any greens. Leave me alone. I broke free of my human. And sure, I'm still wearing the barding, but you ain't getting near me if you don't have any tasty foods. But yeah, like, if they made the ultimate weapons in each game be different based on what the cultural background is of the designs, that would make sense, right? Like, in a European lore, the ultimate weapon would be Excalibur. But, like, in... I don't know any other ultimate legendary weapons. Or actually, that wouldn't be European lore, that'd be... What is it? I think that's from the United Kingdom only. The Arthurian legend But like, German kingdoms probably had... Germany probably had its own ultimate weapon idea. And I know there was a Chinese weapon that was used to cut grass on a battlefield, and its name translated to the grass cutter or something. I remember reading about that. And I remember reading about it, I think, specifically because it's a weapon in a Final Fantasy game. One of the dozens of weapon types. Like, for all I know, it's this thing. I think it's called like Toba no Dashi or something. But yeah, like, it'd be neat if they had some kind of consistency that, you know, in one game the Excalibur was the ultimate weapon, and in another game the Toba no Dachi is the ultimate weapon, and in another game they, you know, make a spear the ultimate weapon. Like, I don't know. I don't know names of culturally legendary weapons and whatnot. Let's see what's in here. Usable things. Yay, it's a war axe. Okay, I think... Oh, okay. I think Burning Fangs and the war axe are the new bizarre purchasable items. Well, I think I'm going to quit for now. I've progressed a little further, mostly just leveled up a bit. And I guess next time my party will be Von Balthier and Bosch. I guess Bosch isn't gonna change. So yeah, Von Balthier and Bosch will attempt to destroy the tomato family. Ooh, right. And the only person with magic will be Von. So I don't think either of these had... Yeah. Well, that'll be an interesting thing. I probably won't have Van trying to steal. Considering that he'll be solely responsible for all healing that my party has. So yeah, that should be an interesting challenge. And if anyone's watching, enjoy the rest of your night. Or day, or whatever time of day it is for you. And goodbye.